For those of us who are walking in a deep relationship with God, having their own intimate communion with Him, well, I want to tell you what comes to my mind for you is John chapter 15, where Jesus says, if you abide in me and my word abides in you, ask what you wish and it will be given to you. Well, such is the life you are going to live, a life of constant favor, where you will see God covering you, God making you fruitful, not just fruitful, but to bear much fruit. When you read Isaiah 58 verse 11, it says there, and the Lord will guide you continually. That means you will be led by Him. Your steps will be ordered by Him. He will direct your path. Then He goes further and says, and satisfy your desires in scorched places. That means in difficult times, in famine times, when everything around is shaken, He will satisfy you. Even in the storm, you will see that He will satisfy you. Then He goes further and says, make your bones strong. That means your frame will be firm. You will be firmly footed. You will not be easily shaken. That's for those who are walking in communion with God. Then He goes further and says, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water, and whose water do not fail. Such will be your life. When you look into the life of Joseph in the Old Testament, we see him, right? His brothers planned his downfall. They wanted to never see him ever again. They did not want him in their life. And they sold him as a slave. What happens there? As a slave, he finds favor. God gives him favor. When his time came to move on from that place, he was then put in prison. The wife of Potiphar wanted him to be again finished, but in prison he finds favor. Even there, God begins to lift him up. From prison, we see him now being lifted up in the palace. Come on. When you are under the favor of God, when you have your own deep communion, your deep relationship with Him, one thing I can tell you, wherever you will be placed, you will find God prosper you. You will find God lift you up. You may face those valleys, you may face those difficult times, but even there, you will see God satisfy the desires of your heart. We see Paul and Silas were put in prison. Everything seemed very oppressive at that moment. Darkness was all around them, but they were under the favor of God. The prison itself shook. I want to tell you, live in a deep communion with God. Have your deep, intimate relationship with Him, and you will find that He will cover you. He will protect you. He will guide you. He will direct you. And wherever you are placed, you will find that you will rise up. That will be your life, living under the favor of God. God bless you.